two different skewness metrics. So both of them together define this skewness, and the interpretation is exactly the same. Do not worry about the interpretation of moment coefficient or Pearson coefficient. The interpretation is very similar, and it's very easy to interpret as well. All you have to do is use one of the coefficient and find out the skewness. If the data is skewed, then you can report it as some skewed data is there. Okay. Hope this is clear.
Yes, Sandeep.
Now, what about if the data is not skewed? If the data is having some problem called kurtosis?
Sandeep, one question.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So when we discuss moments, right, the first moment you used no squares, so this around similar to mean, and usually second moment we do a standard deviation. You're using the third moment.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Is there a significant behind the third moment?
Okay, the answer is very difficult to interpret, but I'll try to give some kind of intuition. So, what is this? X minus X bar? X minus X bar is how much distant your data point is from the mean.
That's right.
If the data is too much away from the mean, then it is skewed.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing, actually, I need the, even the sign also. Positively skewed, negatively skewed.
If it is negatively skewed and you're cubing it, the sign is going to stay as is. Right?
As is, right?
Squaring it is positive.
Yeah, data points that are at the negative side of the skew, if there are too many data points, those are going to stay negative, and you're going to sum up all of them, right?
Yeah.
So that is the intuition that I can give. The exact theoretical reason, you have to go and prove it. I cannot prove at this point for this moment at least.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay then. So that is the intuition, whatever I can give for this formula. Now we know how to do the skewness now. Now what about kurtosis? What is kurtosis? Actually, there are two competing definitions for this kurtosis. One is, and each one says that my definition is correct. That is the problem here. So in kurtosis is nothing but the peakness of the curve. Peakness of the curve. The second definition is kurtosis is about the tailedness of the curve. Unfortunately for me, both looks the same, but there are some statisticians who will fight about peakedness versus tailedness. For me, if there is a peak, there is a lesser tail. If there is no peak, there is a bigger tail. I'll show you how. But of course, tailedness is more accurate because the formula for kurtosis is based on the tailedness. That is the reason why statisticians fight about this particular definition. But that's okay. For us, we don't care. For us, both are same. At least for me. Now there are three different kurtics that you'll be able to see. Three different peaks. So my definitions will be lying around the peakedness, but you can interpret the same thing in a reverse way in tailedness. Don't worry about that part. So there are three different kurtics that you can find in the curve. The first one is mesokurtic. Okay. Mesokurtic, leptokurtic, and platykurtic. Yeah. Third one is platy. Just a second. Yeah, mesokurtic. I just wanted to refer what is meso. Meso is middle. Meso means middle. I don't know which language it is. It might be Greek, most probably. So mesokurtic means that the peak is at the center exactly, and it's not. It's actually symmetric, very close to whatever definition I gave to symmetric. It's almost the same, and the peak is not too high. When I say middle, it's neither too high nor too low. That's what is mesokurtic. And there is second one is leptokurtic. And I think lepto means narrow. Yeah. Lepto means narrow. So in this case, there will be very narrow curve. This is what I mean by the peakedness. When I say peakedness, is the peak too high or too low or at the middle? I mean, it's not neither too high nor too low, like mesokurtic. That's what I mean by the peakedness of the curve. Now, what is this? Tailedness. Tailedness is exactly the opposite of this. When the peak is too high, the tail is too short. You can see here, this side you can see the tail is too short. Maybe this side I did not draw properly. So in this case, lepto means short. That's how you can interpret this. But I would suggest you go with one kind of definition. I'm always going with the peakedness, which is kind of easy for me to explain as well as to understand. For you, if you feel tailedness is easier to interpret, you can go with that. Is that clear? Now, what is platykurtic? When you say platy means it is like a plane or like a plate. It's very flat. When something is called platy, you can interpret this as flat, which means the curve that you're going to see is going to be like this. The peak is not that much, right? Peak is low, but when the peak is low, the tail will be tail. When I say this part and this part, when the peak is low, the tail will be large. It's exactly opposite. When whatever you interpret with the peak is exactly opposite to the tail. When the peak is low, tail is thick or more. The weight of the tail is more. When the peak is more, the tail will be less. Short tails. When the peak is at the middle, tails will also be neither too much nor too less. Is this clear? Whatever I said?
Yes, Sandeep.
Okay. In for kurtosis, I'm going to give only one formula here. Again, this is called moment. Again, the same problem. Kurtosis again will have too many too many formulas, but all the formulas once you interpret it, the answer will be same. So it doesn't matter how many formulas you want to learn. Even if it is one, it is fine. Moment quotient of curtices. And again, this moment coefficient of curtices is given by mu4. Mu4 is the moment quotient, which is given by sigma x minus x bar power 4 by n. And the curtices, sorry, this is not curtices, is given by mu4 by s power 4. What is s power 4? It is again standard deviation power 4 minus 3. So people again, there is some difference in the opinions of this formula again. So some people will not use this minus 3, but I would suggest use minus 3 because it is easier to interpret. I'll show you how. If this curtices coefficient is positive, then it is leptocurtic. If it is negative, you call it as platycurtic.
So you mean to say that the kurtosis evaluation is positive with leptocurtic?
Yeah, after this.
After this.
The value after this. And 0, it is mesocurtic. Is that clear? The interpretation is exactly the same if you see here. Now the problem with this 3, if you don't have this 3, then what happens? Instead of positive, I have to say greater than 3, less than 3, equal to 3. So instead of having different interpretations between skewness and curtices, it's better you have this minus 3, and based on this you can have leptocurtic, platycurtic or mesocurtic.
So here in this mu4 formula, sigma x minus x bar power 4 by n, you mean degrees of freedom, or is it number of data points?
Number of data points. You can use degrees of freedom also, strictly speaking, but
Okay.
it doesn't make any difference because the power is 4.
Okay.
Right? It's
Yes,
too
sir.
much, right? You're already using power 4, so it will not make any difference.
Okay.
Now again, the same thing, if you see, like I said, the formula is derived always using the tailness, not the peakness. So based on that, if you see there are too much flat, too heavy tails like platycurtic, what happens? This difference, power 4, is going to give this part. I mean, this part is going to get highlighted too much, right? So based on that, you can have this number, but the 3 is based on the normal distribution actually.
Okay.
So I have not discussed the normal distribution, so I don't want to interpret more than this.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Sandeep.
So that is about the curtices. Is that fine? We can do a small exercise on the same heights data and complete this. Any questions still now? And second thing is, since we are doing -3, this is called excess curtic. This is also, instead of saying positive, you can say positive excess curtic. It means that your the excess is 3. 3 is the excess for this curtices. More than 3 it is there, right? So it's called positive excess curtic, negative excess curtic. So when someone says excess curtic, don't say I don't know what it is. Both are same. It's just the name. And 0 is called zero excess curtic. This is just a terminology. Don't worry about no. Don't worry about the names. Names are only for your convention, right? Is that fine?
Yes, Sandeep.
Because we are removing this 3, right? -3.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm calling it as positive excess cutting, negative excess cutting, and 0 excess cutting.
So can you scroll up all the way to the top of the note?
Okay. Until the description. Oh, not here.
Pearson coefficient.
Okay. I don't know where I have done that. Yeah, I think somewhere here, right? Oh, sorry.
No,
Yeah.
No, further down.
Even further. Okay, here.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Any question here?
No. I had written down as one cube. There was one thing I wrote down as extra cube, so I was making sure that I didn't write it extra.
Oh, okay. That's fine. Anyway, this note still anyway will be shared, right? So.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? In the next 10 minutes, I just wanted to show it in Excel quickly. If you don't have it. By the way, to if you want further information, actually, this is called central moment. When I say central moment, you have to remove x bar from each of the x. If you don't use this x bar, minus x bar, it is called raw moment. Okay, let me call out those. There are two kinds of moments. One is raw moment. Raw moment, let me call it as m instead of mu. It is not a notation, but I am just using my own notation. Mk is nothing but sigma x power k by n. This is called raw moment. If you see, first raw moment is nothing but mean. M1 is nothing but mean. Okay. And there are central moments as well. This is something extra. If you need, you can note it down. Otherwise, you can, even if you discard this, it doesn't make any difference for you. This is not useful for you. It's more like I just wanted to describe some more moments. Central moment is nothing but this formula, which means every element you are subtracting from x bar and then taking a power of k. And then in this case, second central moment is nothing but variance, right?
Yes, Sandeep.
If you substitute k with 2, second central moment will become variance. I think this is something extra I wanted to just give. If you want to explore more, you can explore based on these raw moments and central moments. Is that clear? We are always using for both kurtosis and skewness. We are always using central moment, not the raw moment. So for skewness, it is third central moment. For kurtosis, it is fourth central moment, right? Any questions on this? Or did I taught too much already?
What is the significance of this other moments, Sandeep, raw moment and central moment?
So generally, it is only used for skewness and variance.
Okay.
Like I said, whatever I said is the entire moments, but I did not teach the theoretical aspects of it, which I think is not useful for you. Don't worry about
it. Okay, all right, Sandeep.
Okay. Any other questions on this? I just wanted to quickly show the Excel. If you're unless you have any questions. Okay, I'll go to the Excel then.
I'm good, Sandeep.
Cool, no problem. In case you have any questions, you can ask me anytime. Let me copy this into another sheet just for my convenience. Okay, let me call out this as kurtosis and skewness. Okay, and I'm sharing this. This is already shared. Let me know if you did not get it. I think Zahir, you did not get, right? So kurtosis, all you need is x minus x bar, right? So first let me calculate average quickly. Average is nothing but mean of, sorry, it's average of this entire thing. Now I got x bar. Let me call it as x bar instead. X bar. Now I need x minus x bar and then do a cube and x power 4 both, right? One for kurtosis and one for skewness. So x minus x bar, how do I calculate? Again, this value minus x bar. I'm making it as a
Dollar fixed.
dollar so that I'll fix the x bar. Hopefully this works. This is not working somehow. Okay, let me drag it. No problem. It's only 100. Okay, x minus x bar I got. Now the third central moment we need, right? So x minus x bar
Whole cube.
cube, yeah, power 3. Now how to do that? This one into the same one into the same. I have another, I think there is a power function also, but for now I'm not using, that's fine.
Okay.
You can explore that power function if you want. Let me cube it. Yeah. Okay. Now let me do the other one also. X minus x bar power 4. Fourth central moment. Or now let me use the power function. This is the number and power is always 4. Let me do for all. Okay, now I got both the central moments, mu3 and mu4. No, I did not get the mu3, right? Now mu3 central moment is sum
Sigma
of all
exponent
these things,
by n.
sum of all these by 100, right? 100 is my n.
Yes.
This is mu3. Now mu4 is nothing but sum of again all this by 100. Okay, this is central moment 4. Now what is my formula? Skewness is mu3 by
Yes, cube.
cube of standard deviation, right? Let me calculate standard deviation also. S is nothing but, I should take this one, the original heights.
STD sample.
Yeah, I can use anything. Like I said, it won't impact that much. Already our formula is, it's already approximation. That's what I said, right?
Yes.
This is an approximation. Same case with this. Even this is also approximation. Let me write that. But that's fine. It works very well.
Okay.
Now S cube, let me write it as S3, is this one into the same S cube. Now S power 4 is this one into this one into 4 times. I can use the power function also. Anything is fine. Now what is skewness?
M3 by
M3
S cube.
S cube. M3 by S cube. This is my skewness coefficient. Kurtosis M4 by S power 4. This is my M4 by S4 minus 3, right?
Yes, Sandeep. Whole minus 3.
Excess kurtosis. This is called excess kurtosis.
Okay.
Okay, M4 by mu 4, is it right? M4 by S4 minus 3. Yeah, this is correct. Now what is the skew?
Positively skewed.
It's a little bit of positively skewed. It's not much, right? It's very close to 0.
Mhm.
And little bit of
Leptokurtic.
leptokurtic. Okay, but since it is very close to 0, if you plot the histogram, what are you seeing here in the histogram? This is the histogram, right?
Yes.
In the histogram, you don't see that much of leptokurticness because you know the central one, this bar, whatever I highlighted now,
Okay.
this bar is a little bit more than others around it.
Yes.
That's why it is little bit of leptokurtic, and there is a little bit of skew if you see here, this
Yes.
part. Maybe because of that you have a little bit of positive skewness, and leptokurtic because one of the bar is little bit more higher than others,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So all these things are identified only based on these two items, skewness and kurtosis. And
Okay.
in Excel, you have a direct formula, like always. Skew, you give all the heights. I think it is very close. See, like I said, it is an approximation, right? The formula that I gave.
Yes, Sandeep.
But still, the interpretation doesn't change. Interpretation is still the same.
Positive skewed.
Positively skewed, yeah. Now for kurtosis, you can again see all this data. And again, it's not very close, but it's fine. The interpretation did not change, right?
Yes.
So that's how it is. So any questions on this? Or how to interpret the skewness with the histogram and identify how to think through? Actually, in this case, I would say because it's not that much skewed, right? Strictly speaking, you will not get exact skewness, I mean exact symmetric data. All the real world data that you see will have some or the other skew. So strictly speaking, I would say this is not that much skew. I would consider it as close to symmetric. And this one also, kurtosis also, I would consider it as a not much leptokurtic. But it's up to you. Like I said, every decision you take is risky, including this.
Okay.
Is that fine? Vijay and Zahir and Abid and Subbu. Subbu joined very late actually today.
Yeah, I guess like formula wise it makes sense, but I think I'm still not understanding or where it is this all comes in the picture.
Yeah.
I guess further.
So where it comes into picture. So if your data is very much skewed, you have to do some kind of transformations to make it unskewed. Those things we'll try to learn to some extent, but not now.
Okay, thank you.
Kurtosis is not much used. Sometimes, very rarely it is used. So we don't have to worry about kurtosis much. But skewness is something that we have to deal with regularly. All your data that you get is skewed. Now how to deal with the skewed data? The reason for dealing with skewed data is because unless you unskew the data, some of the analysis will not be proper. Okay, but we'll see. This is only about how to identify. It's not about how to interpret, and it's not about how to process the data yet.
So Sandeep, you made a comment saying that you would have to unskew a particular set of data. Why is that?
Normal distribution, right? By the
Yeah,
way,
in normal distribution, the skewness is pretty much 0.
It is 0 actually.
Yeah.
And most of our analysis, by the way, this is only for Zahir and Abid to some extent, not for others, because they don't know. So in normal distribution, the skew is 0, and all my theories are depending on normal distribution.
Yeah.
If the data is skewed, will I get the proper confidence interval?
Okay, got it. So you will have to first fix the data to bring it to normal distribution before you can apply any other theory to it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. I took 7 more minutes extra, but that's for good, I believe. Unless you have any questions, I'll close the session. Okay then. Okay then. We'll catch up tomorrow then.
Sure.
Bye.
Bye.